Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We're continuing to follow the bombshell investigation out of Dodge County regarding the criminal investigation at Waupun Correctional Institution. 9 employees, including the former warden there, now facing felony charges connected to the deaths of 2 inmates.
And the Dodge County Sheriff did not hold back today, saying a lack of following procedures and a lack of accountability directly led to these 2 deaths. He calls it, quote, blatant disregard for human beings, end quote.
The arrests include former warden 62-year-old Randall Hepp, who just announced his retirement yesterday, to correctional officers and registered nurses. All reported to the Dodge County Jail this morning and all appeared in court this afternoon. The charges include abuse of residents of penal facilities and misconduct in public office. Brittany Schmidt joins us now in the newsroom with the details of how investigators connected 2 inmate deaths to the alleged actions of these prison employees. Brittany.
The Dodge County Sheriff outlined several massive failures within prison walls by staff members during an hour-long press conference this afternoon. As we reported, a total of 4 people have died at the prison since June of last year. But the 2 most recent deaths are the ones that led to these criminal charges against staff members. We first told you about the death of Donald Meyer at the prison in February. The medical examiner ruled his cause of death dehydration and malnutrition, and ruled the manner of death a homicide. Schmidt said staff members failed to feed the inmate 9 out of 12 meals over a 4-day period and did not follow hunger strike protocols. Sheriff Schmidt says water was shut off in the inmate's cell numerous times for legitimate reasons, but documentation failed to reveal how long the inmate was without water. According to the sheriff, Meyer drank sewage water and his monitored cell wasn't monitored properly. The other death that led to criminal charges happened in October of 2023 when Cameron Williams died. The medical examiner ruled his cause of death a stroke and the manner of death natural. Sheriff Schmidt says their investigation revealed Williams had multiple medical episodes where no medical assistance was provided and no action was taken by supervisors.
Evidence shows that the decedent was dead in his cell at least 12 hours before he was discovered on the morning of October 30th, 2023. I'll say that again. He was dead in his cell for over 12 hours until they located him the next morning.
Although one of the man's death is ruled homicide by the medical examiner, the DEA isn't charging anyone with it. She says in order to charge homicide, you have to show 1 or more people were responsible for this. She says in this case, it wasn't just one person and it wasn't intentional. It was more of a neglect case. So based on the evidence here, she went with charges she could prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court. This criminal investigation, though, is separate from a federal investigation looking into a suspected smuggling ring involving prison employees at Waupun Correctional Institution. That one is still ongoing. Bill?
Brittany, thank you. Meanwhile, State Representative David Steffen released a statement this afternoon calling on Governor Tony Evers to close both the Green Bay Correctional Institution and Waupun Correctional Institution, adding, quoting, now conditions, especially at Green Bay and Waupun, are ripe for tragedy. This is unacceptable. Governor Evers must step up and begin actively addressing the failures within our correction system, starting with the closure of these 2 facilities, end quote.